You killed chickens, you killed cows, you killed goblins.
Hello.
Hello, hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, you look like you're descending from heaven. There we go.
I mean, it's bright and sunny.
Dude, literally, you were like white.
Man. All right, good enough. How's your day going?
Not too bad, just got back from the gym.
Very nice. Very nice. What did you train today? Every day's blue day.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, do you really have to ask? Do we
Are you
really
still
have to
training
ask
upper body?
nowadays? What?
Are you still training upper body?
I mean, like, barely, like once a week.
Okay, yeah, same.
It's like just to maintain, you know what I'm saying?
I miss like getting after training upper body. I actually really miss training chest. I know that's gonna sound
Well,
weird.
that I don't miss because of implants, and I'm not willing for it to go.
Yeah, I haven't really not since this time around, which has now
Mm.
been years, but like I think that was part of what gave me a problem initially. Like after I got implants the first time, I was like trying to bench 135. Yeah, I
Your
could
tit,
too.
your tits go.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Eric's
want
gonna be editing this. Like, all right, you're talking about tits like a minute in. That's a new record.
to. We're just making up for Meg not being here.
Legit, legit. I know. I feel like I'm having like mommy and me time. So like I had mommy time last week with mommy Meg. Now I have mommy Laura time this week.
Yep, yep. Well, I'm just glad everything worked out for the better with her.
Oh no shit, with like the fucking hurricane and shit. Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of like cleanup as far as like trees and things like that from at least what I've seen on social media, but not
Mm-hmm.
detrimentally ruining people's lives. So that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my dad texted me this morning. He's like, "You guys okay?" And I'm like, "It's sunny and like 85 with like a
Yeah.
breeze." Like,
Really, it's so warm.
dude, it's so fucking nice. And maybe it's not that warm. It's actually more like fall weather. He's like, "Yeah, but I saw that you guys were in a flood warning." I'm like, "Dad, we live in a goddamn swamp. Like on a random Thursday, we likely have a flood warning, but like nothing ever happens. We didn't get any rain. We just got a wicked like sunset last night."
Oh, I'm excited to come to Charlotte. I can't Charleston. What am I saying?
Close
Charlotte.
enough. Close enough.
Uh,
Yeah, that's gonna be so good to finally fucking meet you and see
I
you.
know. I can't wait. Honestly, he didn't even tell me. He was like, "So we're going to see my mom on the 24th." I'm like, "Good thing I want to go."
Yeah.
Like,
Where does she? I mean, obviously, like she lives like
they
close.
they actually don't live, I don't know exactly where they live. So they're coming and also getting a hotel close to
Mhm.
where we are because I guess where they live is an hour away from where we're staying.
Hmm.
So I don't know exactly where they live, but I can find out and circle back.
Yeah, interesting. An hour away from here would be like not quite Columbia. That's about an hour and a half.
Do you live directly like in the city?
Not downtown. I live in Goose Creek, which is like 20 minutes outside,
Okay.
but it's still like pretty close.
Close, yeah.
Yeah. So like if people ask me where I'm from, I'll say Charleston because like everyone knows Charleston. But if I say Goose Creek, they're gonna be like, huh? Huh. You do what in your creek?
Geese, geese.
Legit, legit. No, what's been going on this week?
We got back Monday, had a great time in Bermuda, other than me getting absolutely annihilated by the
Yeah, I
waves.
want to hear the wave story.
So we got that was actually on my birthday. We got to the beach and it was like maybe like 1 o'clock or so. And the guy was like, "Hey, yeah, just be like careful as you have to pay to like rent chairs and all of that." And
Yeah.
they're like, just be mindful in the water. It's been really rough. About 2 hours ago, the waves were 20 feet. And I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. And like didn't think anything of it. And I guess like I was actually talking to the girl who does my lashes yesterday, and she went to the same beach and had this same problem. So it's known for this. And so we're out in the water, just like it's crystal clear, it's beautiful, like it's wavy, but not like anything crazy.
Yeah.
I'm jumping over them like a little kid laughing about it. And like I turn around, I'm talking to Joss for a second. Both of us like had our backs towards the water. Next thing I know, I got fucking trucked by this like massive wave. And I ended up probably like 50 yards away from him at the shoreline when I finally like got my head above the water.
Yo.
The first thing, like coughing it all over the place. But the first thing I do, I look down, I'm like, my watch is gone. No. And of course, he was like, "You're an idiot. Why would you wear a magnetic watch in the water?" And like, it just, I didn't even think of it, you know?
Dude, the ocean was like, watch this bitch.
Yeah. Trucked, trucked, but yeah. And I couldn't believe there were people with like little kids, like there was like maybe a 3-year-old kid like playing at the shoreline. I'm like, I am 3 times your size and just got absolutely crushed. So your kid should not be anywhere near this. But
Kid's like, I got this.
did you see me post the car that well, it's called the Twizzy that we used for the week? I could have picked the car up and carried it home with me. And
That's
this thing would
hilarious.
whip like 70 miles an hour. It's in kilometers too. So I'm like gunning the gas. I'm like, this can't go that fast. And then the next thing you know,
Laura's like,
yeah, Josh is in the backseat, like, oh.
oh my God, that's fucking hilarious, dude.
It was a good
God, I love
time.
that. I love that. I know this was like I think like your first vacation outside of the US that like actually like came to
Oh
fruition.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We've had 3 fail. Oh, we had two Mexico trips that went to shit. Once we actually got to Bahamas, but both of us had neurovirus.
Hmm.
We came home. I spent as much to fly home a day early as I did on the trip. And yeah, that's it.
I'd
So
cry. I'd cry.
I had no choice. It was like there was no better option.
Yeah.
Like no, both options were awful.
Hmm.
So it is what it is. But I'm happy to be home. I miss my routine and all that stuff, but it was
Oh, I
also
bet.
nice. This is the first time I've gone away in probably 10 years that like I didn't really like track. I
Yeah.
brought food to have options or whatever, but like intuitively ate for the week. And it was nice to have that freedom.
Hmm. How did you handle like meal frequency? How many meals did you have out? Like talk a little bit about kind of like your nutrition experience, and I'll actually compare that to what I did when my family was at Kiowa last time this year, actually.
Okay. So I brought a lot of food just for the fact that I knew food there was expensive.
Hmm.
Uh, So I had breakfast at the hotel,
Hmm.
probably at like 10 or so. We go run around for the day. There was once that like I just got like a salad out for like a lunchtime, whatever. Um, I brought a meal a couple times, like just in the car with us. So I was probably eating at like 10, 1, and then one more time later in the day at like 3, and then we'd go somewhere for dinner.
Hmm.
So probably I'd say 4 meals a day. And like I was still making good choices. Like I'm not someone like, and it was funny because I had a client actually message me being like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're bringing food on vacation. How do you have so much willpower to do that? I wish I was like you." And I was like, "Listen, like if I wanted to go eat whatever, I would, but like I don't feel good like that. Not even just like it's not a mental thing. Like the types of foods and all that, like I've always struggled with having a sensitive stomach and like
Yeah.
lactose intolerance, all that my whole life. So like I don't mind. Like I like what I eat. Like I like it a lot that like I actually look forward to what I eat. So it's not.
Can we like talk about that though? Because that is such a common phrase that is just literally tossed around. The idea of willpower. How can you follow through and bring your food or continue to hit your programming with the idea of willpower? And like you said, it is a choice. It is an active choice that you make. It's not something that hate to be the punny, but thrown by the wayside, just like Laura just being like kabooshed with a fucking massive monsoon wave. Like it doesn't happen like that. It's a choice, right? So you either choose to bring your own food because it is habitual, you enjoy doing it, you enjoy how you feel yourself, or you choose chaos and you don't come prepared, you don't bring meals. And then to make matters worse, even if you don't bring your food and become prepared and you do eat out consistently, you are still choosing bad behaviors, right? You're choosing bad choices, but it's an active participation on your end. It's a bullshit excuse of, oh, I don't have willpower. It's not that you don't have willpower, it's you lack self respect. You lack following through on your goals and you lack the practice of doing it. So I really just, it really like, oof, willpower because I made those same bullshit excuses and then I didn't make progress. I was like, oh, I don't have the willpower, but like, bullshit, I didn't. I just didn't have the self respect. I was like, oh, well, I'm on vacation. So I'll just do all of these actions. And at the end of the day, it was rooted in self-sabotage. It's I didn't respect myself enough to come prepared to follow through on my goals. And at the end of the day, like I was just blaming the situation, not taking ownership. And that's where I have my power. That's where you have your power. It's like you are a grown ass woman. Even though you got taken out by a wave, you're still a grown ass woman. Like you get to just choose what goes in your mouth. Like Josh
Even
isn't forcing you.
no, and like honestly, and this is a good example for those that do feel uncomfortable doing this type of thing because their spouse may not. So if Josh wanted to go out to eat, I'd either bring a meal. There was a couple times I did eat with
Mhm.
him, and then if not, I just either got a coffee or a Diet Coke. And like when we were, I was much less focused on meal timing, and like I brought things with me too if I wanted. Like I brought an apple, I brought a banana, like knowing because like we were adventuring the island and like I didn't know exactly when I was going to be back. And like, I wasn't also going to jeopardize coming back just to eat either. So like, I made sure I ate before I left. I had options with me. If I wanted to get something out, I could. Like, I tried to go into it with like the most like relaxed mindset possible and just knowing that I had good choices. And then honestly, there was once over the trip too there that I went to a grocery store and I got some things. It's
Mhm.
really not that fucking hard. I got some microwavable rice and I got I got some already grilled chicken that honestly didn't taste the greatest because it's like a lot more additives than I'm used to. But I
Yeah.
just got plain grilled chicken, the Purdue, you know how it's like pre-grilled, all of that.
Mhm.
And it was fine.
Yeah.
Would I do that every day? No, but it was a good option to have and like honestly saved so much money as opposed to every time Josh wanted to eat out, it was like $50.
Per person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is in Charleston. Like legit, like Eric and I, like when we just even locally, like we would go out to eat a lot more frequently than we should have. And I'm like, listen, we got to cut up back on our finances, you know? And so we started having like meals together at our dining room table. No phones, no TV, no nothing. So not only are we saving time, but we're also so strengthening our marriage by having quality time with no distractions. And like that is such a lost activity because of screens being everywhere and our attention always constantly being split,
Yeah.
right? But like again, putting your phone on do not disturb, closing your laptop, like literally using your dining room table on a regular basis, except for like fucking Christmas or Hanukkah or Thanksgiving or whatever. Like it's not just for decoration. It actually has a purpose. But like with nowadays, it's like we're all guilty of using fucking TV trays or our sloth troughs where it's just we'll just be in front of the fucking TV. And it's just like, dude, you can have dinner at home for free or less than going out to dinner and not have electronics. And that's like going to be good for you mentally and physically and with your marriage and your relationships. And I was like, damn, why did we stop doing this, dog?
And that's why people get so hyper fixated on like where you're going to eat or what you're having to eat or whatever. It's not about that. It's about your company. It's about the interaction with the people you're around. Like
Mm,
that's what's really important. Like I could give a shit. He wants to eat whatever he wants and I could care less. He wants hamburgers and pizza and things like that, and he can do it. He's a guy. It's not the same. I don't care what people say. It's not the same. And his goals aren't the same as mine. He's not looking to get
like,
on stage. And he's just right now maintaining a physique. He eats probably 2 or 3 times a day and has more flexibility. Great.
exactly. And that's the same thing with Eric and I. It's like I have competition goals. He has his own physique goals, but like he's not stepping on the stage. Like, yeah, he wants to grow his titties, but like he doesn't need to militantly track or even like track the way I do. He just needs to be healthy. He needs to move his body and he needs to make sure that he's eating enough calories because yes, he does want to grow, but again, he's a natty daddy. Like it's not like we're trying to like use a bunch of drugs or anything like that. He just wants to be a normal guy that's healthy and fit. That looks like he belongs in the gym. Like that's literally his goal. And he's attaining that goal, but literally the food focus and the emphasis is just so skewed nowadays because we're so hyper fixated on calories and macros, especially if it fits your macros, where it's like, what'd you get for your free meal? And it's like, dog, I haven't had a free meal since I went to Ohio like a couple months ago. Like, I'm happy like bringing my foods and experimenting with new flavors and stuff like that. Like, that's where I get a lot of fun. And then I do my one hit wonders when Eric wants to like have like a snack or something. It's like I'll bake brownies or muffins or cookies or whatever. And like I just have fun with it. Like I don't use recipes. I just like just throw shit together and
I do this
hope it
too.
fucking concocts something. Like what
Yeah.
is the expression? You throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks. That's
Yep.
literally how I bake, and it's so much fucking fun. And then he gets to enjoy something that I created, and that makes me feel loved, and it makes him feel loved. And it's like we're all fucking happy.
Exactly. It doesn't need to be that complicated. I don't know. I feel like people search for a perfect fit for too many things and need to be a little bit more open to being experimental and figuring out what actually works for them and doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I feel like, especially this year, has been pretty monumental and eye-opening in that type of sense for me of like being more experimental because I was somebody that was not for so long. And
Right.
it's helped me so much. Like I would have never like I would say on average I probably ate like 2,000 calories, maybe a little bit more the entire trip, and I still
Yeah.
came home just 5 pounds down. I'm like, wow, like I
Mm-hmm.
used to be that person that could maintain weight on like 1,700 calories, and like now I'm maintaining weight on like 2,800, 3,000. It's
Yeah.
because I actually tried to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I'm not as small and lean anymore, but I feel way better.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I think it's something that's just is so lost in the sauce because one, we're always consumed with like what are other people doing and eating just because again, ease of access to other people's lives when it comes to Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, maybe things like TikTok or whatever. Like wherever you can take a snapshot and look into someone else's life, we're so obsessed with what they're doing. And especially if we look up to them, maybe we want to copy them. We want to copy their foods, their meals, their macros, whatever. And it's like, then you get stressed because it doesn't fit your life. It
No,
doesn't fit what you enjoy, right? Like I eat 4 meals a day. I shuttle out of the 430 grams of carbs that I eat in a day, I shuttle almost 380 around my peri workout. So like my pre, my intra, my post. That is a fuck ton of carbs,
yeah,
right? And that might make someone miserable to eat all that food. And then to have like almost like pretty much protein, veggie, fruit for the other 2 meals. So don't do what I do, right? I like this because I don't want to have to eat 200 grams of rice at every fucking meal. Like that sounds miserable to me. But like that's why it's so important to either like truly ask yourself what is more sustainable for you around your nutrition especially, or if you don't know, hire someone, dog. Like ask for help. Like it is very difficult to sometimes remove your emotional bias and maybe even just like past trauma or eating disorder type history to get a clearer picture of what you need to do on a sustainable everyday type of venture around especially your nutrition, because I know for women that's a big source of stress.
yeah, totally. I
But
think that that's a good point.
yeah.
And also not feeling, I don't know, I feel like this is almost like a combative topic, but just because something may be ideal via a textbook or science or fucking whatever you see on social media, it just may not be ideal for you, and that's okay. Like, I think that everyone's going to vary on what they feel good on and not need to feel guilty about that. I spent so much time feeling like the comparison game of like what I should be doing and didn't always work for me,
Mhm.
even though it may have been ideal. And I feel like you're a very good example of being to the gram of like how you go about your fitness journey. And I've become a little bit more flexible with it and feel mentally better. And I feel like because I feel mentally better, I feel physically better.
Yeah, I'm actually going to correct you there because I used to be militant like that, and I damn near wanted to blow my brains out because I was so like nitty gritty to it to where it's like I weigh out my food, but like I'm not stressed if it's like 303 versus 300. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to weigh out my eggs, dude. I don't weigh out my eggs anymore. So like no, I'm not militant like that anymore because it doesn't work. It didn't work for me, right? There are
Mhm.
some people that can just be more robotic in nature, and I think that's great if that's like what you need to do to be successful. But for me, like I like having diet variety. I like playing with my foods in terms of
Yep.
like fruits and veggies and colors and spices and herbs. Like I have a lot of fun being creative, and sometimes dog, sometimes it tastes like butthole. But
Oh,
like
that's so disappointing.
yeah, like I'll eat it anyway though, not because like oh I gotta eat it, but because my pet peeve is food waste. And I know we talked about that. So
Yep.
it's like if I fuck it up, it's like, okay, listen, these flavors, these things don't work anymore, but we're gonna eat it because
Now
we're
you
not
know.
gonna be wasteful.
Yep.
But no, it's like I think there's a hierarchy of like how optimal things need to be. And it's like, dog, if you can't even hit your calorie goal, we don't need to be worrying about macros, right? If you can't
Exactly.
even eat a fruit and vegetable, we don't even need to be tracking like weighing foods out yet. It's like there's a hierarchy of like sustainability when it comes to building like habit stacking is what I tell my clients. It's
Yep.
like eating 3 or 4, maybe even 5 times a day, depending upon your schedule, your goals, your hunger cues, whatever. Then from there, it's like, okay, eating fruits and vegetables and a protein at every meal. Great, you're knocking that out of the park. Let's start to track calories or maybe even track macros. Let's maybe go on a meal plan, right? But it's like, I think a lot of people want to go from like having zero intuition about nutrition and zero knowledge to meal timing and eating 6, 7 days or 6, 7 times a
All
day.
or nothing.
Yeah, 30 grams of protein, like EAAs. And it's like, we got to start here first, and we got to build. We got to build.
Skill set development for sure. It's actually funny you say it like that. So I had a consult today with a woman who's 68 years old. She is a type 2 diabetic, and she told me that she's had diabetes since she was 40. And my first question to her was, if you've had diabetes for 28 years, why are you just trying to
Mhm.
take care of it now? What's going to be the factor that gets you to buy in to listen to me? Is
Yeah,
coaching something that's going to be worth it for you? And she said to me, she's like, well, I'm on this medication, that medication, this medication, I've got high cholesterol.
yeah.
And I said to her, I was like, is this the type of lifestyle that you want to live? And she said, no, but
Mm.
I don't know what to do because I'm overwhelmed because there's so much information everywhere, and then I just freeze and I have anxiety about it. I'm like, sweet. We're gonna start super basic. We're eyeballing portions. I'm gonna give you food lists. You're gonna
Right.
have meal times, and that's gonna be it.
Mhm.
And it's pretty easy to reverse. It's just I get it. Like the abundance of knowledge. It's what is that? An analysis, over analysis.
Paralysis by analysis. Yeah.
Yes, yes. She's giving
Hmm.
herself anxiety that she doesn't need to have over something that's pretty easy to
Hmm.
fix.
Yeah, it's hard because also everyone's a coach now, right? Because there is no like barrier to coaching. It's just like you either hire a coach and do a show, and bam, you're a coach, or I love health and fitness. I want to help people.
Yeah,
It's like, that's great. It's great that you want to help people, but you need to invest in your education first because a lot of the times you were just going to copy and paste things from maybe your coach, which is like plagiarism and illegal, but it's done. Like it's done
FYI.
consistently. It is done, right? But it's like, you want to help people, you got to first help yourself. You got
Yeah,
to educate yourself. You got to do things on your own first. You got to mess up. You got to learn from your mess ups and then like help people for free and then help people for lower cost, right? It's like you have to like pay your dues kind of like we all have, especially in the early years. But it's like, it's so hard because everyone wants to educate and be a leader, which I think is great. I really think it is good that people want to step up and be better. But at the same time, because all of that information is just for like someone first in the space, they're like, holy shit, I got to eat seven times a day, 30 grams of protein. Like, I do a girl dinner and my first meal's at 3 o'clock and it's a frappadappuccino. Like, holy shit, like that would give me IBS. You know what I'm saying? Fucking shit my brains out just from stress.
that is a definite early on beginnings for all of us.
No, legit, legit. I was talking where it's like everyone needs to do like these 4 things. They need to eat, they need to sleep, they need to move their body, and they need to have some type of like personal growth or some type of challenge in their life that makes them feel accomplished. Where it gets difficult and where emotions can cloud judgment is how much of each, right? So we have some people saying you have to train till failure. Yeah, like if your goal is to grow the most amount of muscle you can get, you are going to want to bring that intensity. But like you're take that 60, some client that you had a consult with, is she going to train till failure?
No,
No. Like she's not going to be able to get mentally there. So it's like context is so important. And then understanding like those 4 variables where it's like we're fiddling with things, there's that Goldilocks phenomenon where we're just like, how much do you actually need to get to your goal? Right. And so that's why it's important to look at context in the sources of your information. Like, do you actually need a gut protocol? Probably not, unless you're having all these issues. But even then, why are you having these issues? Like, where again, where are you at in like that continuum of like, are you missing meals? And again, all you're drinking all day is coffee. And yeah, you're having like chronic diarrhea. It's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna fucking put you on a SIBO protocol. We're gonna like learn what fiber is and water and boundaries and sleep. And then from there, your body's likely gonna respond a hell of a lot better versus like, oh, I'm like at the bottom and I want to be at the top, and I just want to go from zero to the top as quick as possible. And it's like, it's not going to be sustainable for you.
People either don't know or they're not wanting to do what they need to
Mm,
yet until they have someone there to support them to feel as though they can be successful. And
hmm
I think that's one of the biggest things is people start with the self-doubt of maybe I can't do this, try to give themselves all the reasons why they can't, self-sabotage, la 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 la, as opposed to just kind of diving in on something that they're uncertain of. So that also is a big, benefit of having a coach in your corner. And I see this a lot with people that come from having eating disorders, and I spent a lot of time almost feeling resentful for the fact that I had that. And
hmm
it's just now to the point of my life, like, oh, this is why I had that, because now I'm helping that. And coming from like, Pleasantville of the family and everything else, I never really got why I had so many of these struggles that I did.
Yeah.
And now I do.
hmm Absolutely. Like there's a hierarchy of everything, and there's like I'd almost want to call them like milestones or goalposts that you need to reach before like excelling to the next level. Like I played a lot of video games growing up. Like you don't just get to like level 100 when you start, right? Like you go through the fucking little tutorial. Like I'm gonna fucking nerd myself out and I'm gonna date myself. I fucking loved RuneScape. Okay, if you guys know what RuneScape is, it was this like online game where it was like medieval, but it was also like I don't know, like swords and magic and shit like that. I fucking bawled. I bawled so hard on RuneScape, sun up to sundown. Like that's why I was fucking fat as a kid because I did not move my body other than my mouse clicking, right? When you start a video game, you start off first learning how to play the goddamn game. You killed chickens, you killed cows, you killed goblins that were all like level 1, level 2, because you were level 1, level 2. You weren't like fucking killing dragons that were level 100 with your little like dagger that's bronze. Like, no, you're gonna get your shit kicked in, right? Fitness and health is the same way. You gotta have Laura's. I'm killing Laura over there. Laura's like, what are you doing, dude? Was the biggest
I
fucking
had a Game Boy, that's all I know.
I mean, I had that too, right? I had different
It was
things,
all I
right?
ever did, and I hated
Total,
it.
total thing. But even then, like on your Game Boy, the games that you played, you still had certain skills you would level up before you would get to the next room, the next level, like whatever it is. Like all video games have some level of progression, right? Because when you're making progress, you get addicted. You get little dopamine checks. That's how you like stay on the video games, right? That's why like from sun up to sundown, I was like clicking away because I was like, oh, I'm leveling up my fire building skill. Like, should have gone on a goddamn walk, but that's beside the point. Fitness is very similar. Health is very similar, right? You start with where you are at and build. If you were stuck in an office and you barely get 1,000 steps a day, and your goal is to be a bodybuilder, dude, we need to learn how to just be healthy first. Then once you build the skills of diet, exercise, training, boundaries, sleep, stress management, then we can take you from normal Joe wanting to just be healthy and then having more like athletic and physique goals to wanting to be a competitive bodybuilder. But I think a lot of the times people see the glamour of bodybuilding and they're like, oh, I want that, not realizing all the habits that were built throughout the years to get to where that person is.
I can't tell you how many times I hear that. I want to look like a bodybuilder, but I don't want to get on stage. I'm like, that's not gonna work either.
Mm-mm.
Or I want to look like a competitor, like I'm competing. No, you don't, because that feels like dog shit.
Feels like dog shit. It's expensive. And like, if you don't want to actually compete, you're going to have to sacrifice so much
Yeah.
where then you are going to shit on the sport for making you hate your life when it's your own damn fault.
Speaking of competing, what's going on with you? What are you planning to do and whatnot? Do you know?
It's Austin's call. Like I always say it's his world. I'm just living in it. But like trying to grow a donk right now, but probably compete next year. I don't really know when. Could be early spring, could be summer. Like I don't
Sweet.
want to just like pick out a show and just be like, I want to do this show. I just want to bring the best physique to the stage I can bring since I failed to do that the first time.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm working on right now. But like I'm working on making sure that my head's in a good spot, my body's in a good spot. Like I have, I'm enrolled in the therapist. I'm in my acupuncture and tea drinking era, so we're drinking some tea.
Oh. Oh, won't have
Oh,
tea time.
I know. So we're doing like some lemon and ginger during the day, and then some honey chamomile at night,
Oh,
just
your shit is
because
great.
it's
Shit's
so good,
real good.
so good, right? And like I've always enjoyed tea, but like I'm still a coffee girl. Like, listen, for whatever reason, like bean water, oh, makes me cream my shorts, but leaf water, it's okay. Like it's good. Like
I
when I actually drink tea, I'm like, oh, this is actually enjoyable. But like bean water, I'm like,
can't remember the brand. It's African Nectar is I'm sure if you look it on Amazon,
mhm,
so good. And I'm not a tea drinker, and I even
mhm.
like it. Very, very good.
Dude, tea is so good, especially if like you do white tea leaves, white tea.
Mhm. Is
They
that
have you
caffeine?
um I don't think so. I think it's green tea and black tea are the main
Yeah.
caffeinated teas, but I think white tea is more of like the herbal. I could be wrong, so guys, fact check me there. But I think why I like white tea is I will use it in cases where they're having digestive issues because it's a great source of polyphenols to actually
Mhm.
help the good gut bacteria. So like it's great for tummies. It's great just to drink because like I get plain water is not like as exciting as elements or hydration stuff, but like a lot of the times those people just abuse those hydration sticks and they're drinking like 10 a day. And not only is that really fucking expensive, but then that's like upwards of 10 grams of salt. And some people might need that. Like honestly, I probably abuse the fuck out of my iodized salt, but I also like have been so consistent with it for so long. My blood pressure is in a good spot. Like it's not a big deal, but like no offense if you're an office worker and you're training 3 days a week and you're not taking things till failure, dude. You don't need 10 elements a day. Like, you don't. Like, your body does not need that. You probably feel like a puffer fish. Like, I would.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, water is one of those things that I feel like you have to get the insulated water bottle. I'm bougie. What can I say? Like, go to TJ Maxx, Walmart. They'll have them for like
Mhm.
$15, and it has to be cold. Maybe put a little bit of like I do the flavor drops. There's one made by Sevilla, like True, whatever. I don't know.
Honestly, I don't take issues with those, but like at the same time, like,
Don't abuse them, type of thing.
yeah, don't abuse them, but also like something that really gets under my skin. And again, this is a me thing. Like, this is me having an emotional reaction to what I perceive as just like, I don't want to call it weakness, but maybe privilege. Because
Mm.
like sometimes people say shit that I'm like, dog. Like some people don't even have like clean water to drink on a regular basis, and you're complaining that water's boring. Like that to me, I'm like, mm. It gets me. It gets me.
I get that. We're in a very advanced time of life nowadays, though, so people don't really think like that anymore.
I get that, but there are people that like literally don't have clean water to drink, but like will just drink it anyway because that's all the water they have. And so
Yeah, for sure.
it's like you cut up some lemons and limes, just make your own like little, citrus
Lemonade.
jug. Yeah, there you go. Make your own lemonade or whatever. But also like it's okay to be bored. You don't have to be entertained constantly. Like your water can be boring. It's okay. You'll be okay. Okay.
Definitely.
But
So
yeah, that's what's going on with me. Like we'll compete likely next year, which will be really good.
that would be fun because maybe we'll all end up in prep around the same time.
Yeah. Unless I don't know when Meg is prepping, but if it's like earlier in the year, we'll likely we will all be at prep together.
So I kind of mapped out, this is tentative, but my first show is the last weekend of May. Um,
Hmm.
I'm hoping to have it happen because it's local enough that my parents could come and probably the last time they'll see me compete.
Hmm.
And that's more so why I wouldn't normally pick a timeline, but I want them to be there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I know that if I were to pick something that was really traveling, they wouldn't go. Um, so that's my hopes to like start probably February-ish or so for prep.
Yeah, and like no offense, but like I know we always talk about like don't picking a show, bring your best physique. You are not someone that doesn't know how to get you were I'm using too many double negatives. You have not come in fat. You know what I'm saying? Like you come in shape to show. So you are not someone that you're like, oh, I'm gonna pick a show date here and then not be conditioned. Like
I run into the opposite problem that the show
Yeah,
seems
you
to be.
literally sometimes get almost too lean where your body's like, I need food.
Yeah. Well, that's why also I'm like I'm excited too for this time around. I like went back and forth a lot, and like obviously I talked to you about it just for our listeners.
Mhm.
As if I wanted to hire a coach or not, and I did prep myself. The last time I competed, I had someone helping me that was like a second eye the last 4 weeks. They bounced ideas off of Ashlyn and Meg,
Yeah,
but I definitely didn't come in the way that I wanted to, and I feel like especially from like a mental state as well as experience point of view, I've learned and have grown a lot since.
yeah.
And it's something that I want to do. And maybe somebody else could bring me in better. Maybe they couldn't, but
Mhm.
it's more so for the experience that this is likely at least my last time competing season wise for a while.
Yeah,
Um, so it'll be more meaningful. And Josh gets his ass up at 5 o'clock, 4 days a week to come and train me in person.
yeah,
And I think that the two of us, like, he's not coaching me, but like
yeah.
obviously he sees me in person, which I do feel is beneficial.
Mhm.
Um, will be cool to do together.
Would you trust Josh to do your prep?
Yeah,
Would you?
yeah.
The reason why I ask, because I know Samson Dowda's wife, like she prepped him, is prepping him. And
Mhm.
I'm like,
Oh wow. Okay, cool.
yeah, I'm pretty sure guys,
I mean, I
correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive that like he is no longer working with his coach and his wife does his meals.
that's
Um,
what I prepped Josh the last time he was 5 days out and looked fucking awesome, but we'll
well,
leave
right, but
that.
you're also a coach. I'm not aware that she is a coach, but she's also been with him for so long that I'm sure she does know his body. And as much as I love my husband, ain't no way I would trust him to prep me. He doesn't have, shut up. He doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the know-how. It's not that I wouldn't trust him in that sense of like, how you have to trust a coach. It's just he doesn't have the expertise. He doesn't have the intelligence of program design or especially drug design. Like that's
From
where I would be like, nah, dog. Like,
from a solely professional stance, Josh could absolutely do it, no problem.
yeah.
The question on my behalf, if any, would be more so for our relationship because we
Mm.
bicker like fuck. But as far as like he's extremely knowledgeable, like to
Mhm.
a point that sometimes is a little annoying. I don't know if so Josh was initially a law student and like the person that like knows everything about everything. And if he doesn't know it, will spend
Yeah,
3 hours down the rabbit hole to learn about it. And it drives me crazy. But
I love
anyways.
that. Love that so much, dude. No, I always wondered. I was like, because like obviously that's a big strain on your relationship, you know?
I've also experimented enough with, PDs, enhancements, all that type of stuff to know that like I really can't do much.
Yeah.
I'm somebody that is a hyper responder that is both good but also really bad. So a very little bit is all I'm willing to do because
Yeah.
of how my body responds, and that's it. And if it was entire, I don't know. I've had some thoughts back and forth about like honestly considering competing natural, even though I have dabbled before, because I felt so much better honestly doing a natural prep.
Mhm.
But I'm also realistic, knowing that wellness is not going to be the category if that is the case, and I don't want to do bikini.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Like, I don't want to do bikini. Like real talk, like I don't want to do bikini. It's not my personality to be like
Yeah.
more feminine, almost I'm gonna say Barbie-esque. I'm not like meaning that as a negative, but like to me, bikini is very beautiful. It's very feminine. It's very girly. I got a fucking bull ring. Like, I mean, this is like fucking. I want to get my titties pierced. Like, I know there are some athletes that have their titties pierced and do bikini, whatever. But like,
You're meant for
we
women's physique. You are.
yeah, like I much more have a women's physique, women's bodybuilding, like let's fucking go, like dirt and I lay on the floor when I train. Like for fucking sake. Like, it's like I don't mind to get down and dirty, but like realistically, genetically, come on. Like I'm almost 30 years old and I'm like 5'7", barely 140, and like it's just not gonna happen. But I do want to compete. I do want to be like do the bodybuilding and do be on stage. So it's like because I want to win, because I am very competitive, especially against myself, it's like, okay, well, then I need to be realistic about what can my body actually do, right? And
Yep.
it's like, obviously, since I am willing to use PEDs, but even then, I do use PEDs, and I'm still, I mean, you see me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still not this like genetic outlier. I'm not this monster. So I'll compete and I'll do it until I'm having fun. And then when it's no longer like I can no longer train hard that I want to, or maybe do the training style that I enjoy, then it's like, okay, well then we'll reevaluate. But until then, we just do what we need to do and we have fun and we be grateful for the process because again, like this sport is very privileged. Like we literally pay to do this shit.
That's the biggest thing. And like, honestly, I go back and forth with that at times with myself, being realistic of like, I love the process. I love the training. I love the science. I love the dieting. I love the regimen and diligency for everything that comes with competing. And I've also never really fit a category. And, I'm too hard for bikini. There's no way around that. If I diet, I have fucking grainy veins popping everywhere. It's a
Yep.
genetic. My mom is 73 and has veins coming out everywhere. It's just a genetic thing. I can't do anything about it. Um, to actually be conditioned, like stage lean, that's what I look like. Too small for figure. I don't want to look like figure. So I enjoy training for wellness. I've busted my ass for the last year and a half. I've put on 25 pounds and still counting. I know that realistically, I've probably got another 10 to go before starting a prep.
Yeah.
And where I fall. My goal is to come in respectable, and I don't question that I can do that.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's just doing what you need to do to be successful and just staying at it, keeping like eyes on the prize because like a lot of the times like it's easy for our emotions to cloud our judgment and tell us we can't do something or especially the fucking comparison game. Like
Mm.
that is such wasted energy, and something that you might find interesting, and I don't know if you've seen this correlation, but my high stress individuals, namely women that like have such high anxiety, dude, their alkaline phosphatase, which is like obviously something that you see in like your CMP when you get your bloods drawn, like when that is on the lower end, we're talking like 40s and 50s, like that is most likely due to a magnesium depletion. And the reason why their magnesium is so depleted is because it's needed to create like your fight or flight hormones, right? So if you're constantly stressing, doom scrolling, comparing yourself, like anything that's negative that sends your brain into overdrive, whether it's like a cortex response from stress or an amygdala response from stress, you are depleting your magnesium. And you'll see that alkaline phosphatase, like I said, on the very low end. So I'm like, gotta chill. Like,
Yep.
you gotta go touch grass, go hug your partner, go focus on what truly matters because yes, your goals matter. I don't want to diminish that. My bodybuilding goals matter to me, but there's no problem that I have. I train, I eat, I sleep, I recover, I live my life, I go on dates with Eric. I focus on what truly matters, not the problems. Like I think a lot of the times people are so consumed with like trying to like gather up all their problems that they miss out on counting their blessings. And it's
Oh,
like this matters more than the problems.
especially when it comes to competing, because the actual like getting on stage process, like 3, 4 months, whatever for your prep, like you need to live your life in coordination to off season, on season, all of that, because it's just such a quick over and done
Mm.
for the actual day of it. Like it's too much to sacrifice to not still be human. And you can still be successful and diligent throughout that time.
Mm-hmm. Just you gotta plan, prepare, and prioritize. Like that's not saying that you like slack off on your steps or your cardio or you cheat on your diet. You do what you need to do as a bodybuilder, but you also understand that you still have a job, most likely. You still have a significant other that needs your time and attention, or you have family members and friends that still deserve like part of you because like you can't just like become a hermit, right? Like I know there are top level Olympians that do that, but like that's a different type of person. You know what I'm saying? Like people listening to us, like, I mean, shit, if you are an Olympian listening to us, fucking what's up? But like for the most of us, like we're doing this to have fun, to win, to compete, maybe get a pro card one day, maybe actually do the Olympia. But even then, it's like there are very few individuals that can just like stay locked in like that and become a hermit and it not impact them in a negative way. But for the most part, if you do that, you will just lose yourself, right? Like you literally go batshit crazy.
Yep. And you'll lose things that are important to you, the people around you, the
Hmm.
relationship you have, the family that you have. Like, not that they'll be gone, but you lose connection with that. And then that's really how you lose yourself.
I mean, that was kind of like the problem with COVID, right? Like, why did most of us like lose ourselves? Because like we we couldn't see people.
It's funny because I think that people overhype winning
Hmm.
and underappreciate the people and process and everything surrounding you to get there. And like, I can even speak on that from my own. Like, I know it's not as large of an accomplishment, but I won my pro card from WNBF for figure. And honestly, I drove myself to the competition. I was there by myself. I didn't have anybody in the audience, and I cried my ass the whole fucking way home because it meant nothing to me that I won because nobody was there. And at the time, like, I couldn't realize that the bigger importance was everything else.
Hmm. Yeah, I was talking to when Meg and I were talking last week. There, I was talking about the difference between like whatever it takes versus doing what you need to do to be successful. And like in my bodybuilding journey, I do want to win, but I don't want to win because everyone else like slacked off. Like I want to win because I was the best that day, and everyone else brought their best, right? So it's like I I want to quote George Kittle's 100-year-old. Now she's like 101, but she actually probably is a little older than that
That's
because I was
it.
watching a documentary. George Kittle, he plays for the 49ers. 49ers, Eric? Yep. Yeah, he plays for the San Francisco 49ers. And he brought his grandma to one of his games, and it was her 100th year birthday, right? And they were literally interviewing her, and this woman was just a whip, right? Like 100 years old, mobile, totally cognizant. I mean, she was just so fucking with it. I was like, that's what I want to be when I'm 100. Like, I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
be fucking with it. But they were just interviewing her and stuff like that. And she's like, well, I don't play to lose, do you? And I was like, preach. So it's like that's my mentality. I don't play to lose. I do want to win. But again, I want to win because I utilized all the resources I could utilize to win. Right? I don't want to step on others. I don't want to sabotage others. Like I want to make this sport better by having better athletes, by better having coaches, right? And that's like the example I want to lead, which is why we do these podcasts to be informative and stuff like that. It's like I want bodybuilding to be better, so I have a high expectation of myself. And yes, I do want to win because I want that competitive nature, but not everyone wants to bodybuild like me. And I also have to understand that there are some people that maybe do want to do it as a bucket list item, which I know sometimes we're about, but there are some people that want to compete because they do love competitive bodybuilding, but like they don't want to go pro. And like to me, there's nothing wrong with that as long as they're still trying to bring their best.
I think people don't even always know what they want because,
Mhm.
for example, my client Marianne right now, the girl who's doing wellness, she's 21 years old. She's doing her prereqs right now to be in med school. She wants to be some type of doctor, surgeon, whatever.
Yeah.
And she wants to compete now because she knows that school is going to become a lot more grueling within the next
Mhm.
couple of years, and kind of doing it not as a bucket list, but like I have the time now, so I'm going to do it now. And she's probably got the most natural potential I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
And potential to actually be something if she decided, like, she's a baby, she just turned 21. Her opinion of what she wants is probably going to change if she sees she does well. And that's okay. Sometimes you can get your feet wet and then decide.
Yeah, especially her being that young. Like she can't take like a sabbatical, if you will, and then come back fucking. I don't know. I don't know, depending upon what she wants to do when she's a doctor, but say early 30s, and she still at least goes to the gym and like hopefully she's like somewhat taking care of herself. Because I know fucking I say doctor school, but doctor school is fucking grueling. So it is really hard to like still be healthy and like excel, especially in America, because like being a doctor is very cutthroat and there is a lot of sabotage like in med school and shit like that. But like even if she did want to take like a pause or a timeout, get a Gatorade, eat a Snickers bar, like even when she's 30, like who the fuck says that she can't still compete, right? Like we have the masters, but we also have like moms and women like in their like mid to late 30s, early 40s
This
that
us
start.
geriatrics are gonna bring it, okay?
I always like want to slap the shit out of you when you're like geriatrics. I'm like, Bitch, if I look half as good as you when I'm your age, I will be so fucking thankful. I will like
I actually had someone this morning ask me how old I was. And I was like, you can guess. Tell me what you think. She's like, I don't know, like 25. I'm like, I fucking love you. Sure, I'll
I
be 20.
wouldn't I wouldn't guess that young because like I don't even look 25 and I'm 28, right? But I would definitely say that you are closer to my age than like
40.
yeah. I mean,
I mean,
wouldn't you want to be early 30s? Like late 20s, early 30s?
I had that realization. I said it to Josh the other day. I was like, I'm in my late 30s now. I'm not even in my mid 30s anymore. And he's like, no, that can still be mid. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not.
Dude, I remember growing up, my grandma always told me that she was middle-aged, and I had no idea how old this bitch was. She's gonna be 80 in January. So like I finally know how old my grandmother is because I know she's gonna be 80. But she always like middle-aged. Like, bitch, middle-aged happened 30 years ago. Like, come on
I
now.
feel like people are living so much longer now. Like, look at my dad. I don't know if you like, oh, you've seen my dad, but like
Yeah,
my
he
dad's,
fucking looks like Steve Buscemi or the other guy.
yeah, my
Shut
dad,
up. He looks like Steve Buscemi. Eric
he's
looks.
at the gym 5 days a week. He's like meticulous with what he eats. He's the healthiest fucking person I know, and he's 76.
Yeah,
So it's all
well,
about how you take care of yourself.
dude, I mean, it really is. That's why it's like I get right now, like my goal is competitive bodybuilding and it is to win. But like the whole reason I started my fitness journey was to be healthy and to be active because I also saw like how my parents aged or how my grandparents aged and like they didn't really take care of themselves. Like there's there's this scene in King of the Hill where they're at like a I don't know if it's like Luann Platters or something like that, but they're at like a pretty like honky tonk buffet. Louis. Louis? Louis?
Hi, Eric.
Luby's. They're at Luby's, and it's kind of like a cafeteria style like place where he's getting like brisket and pork and like red meat, like all these meats. And Peggy was like, that's his wife. She's like, oh Hank, please get a vegetable. And he's like, oh fine. And mac and cheese. Like that's my family growing up. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I took the more pills and unhealthy nutrition habits and I kind of like took it to the extreme being a bodybuilder. But like for people just wanting to be healthier, like y'all, fitness is a spectrum. Like it's not like you have to be a bodybuilder or a CrossFitter or a power lifter. Like you can move your body and you can take care of yourself with a wide variety of dials. Like I know we shit on classes, especially like group fitness classes that like are doing like the things where there's like a bar and they're like flying around in the gymnasium. I don't know if you
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's like I know like some people were shitting on that.
that
Dude,
looks so fun.
it
When
looks
I'm
one, it
I
looks fun
fucking
as
do that.
fuck. And two, they like yes, I would love for women to be weightlifting too, but at the same time, like, can we just not be thankful that they are not just sitting on their asses watching TV, that they're at least going out with a group of gals, doing twirls and flips, like that they're moving their body. Like I get it's not lifting weights, which yes has its own benefits for mental health, physical health, whatever, but like they're at least trying. Like I would rather celebrate that than to be like, hey, you fucking suck for doing twirls.
Honestly, that's one of the things I look forward to for like when I am not competitively bodybuilding. Like I don't ever see myself in a position that I'm not regularly going to the gym and weightlifting and all of that, but like incorporating some other things too that are fun that like you really don't have as much time to do.
Mhm. Yeah.
Balance.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the true thing. But like again, when it comes down to like your goals, it's like you have to be willing to be realistic and you have to meet yourself where you're at. And the whole point of like maybe working with a coach or having like a goal which would require some expertise that maybe you're lacking is to build you, to build up your confidence, to build up your habits, your consistency, and to quite frankly build you into the athlete you want to become. Yes, there are some awesome, awesome athletes that have like great genetics, great work ethic, and they just look like fucking monsters. And I love that. Like, I love seeing like genetic monsters, 21 years old, like fucking already, a top level athlete. Like, I love that, right? Like, so freaking inspirational. For the most of us, though, that's not going to be our reality. But if we can take someone with like crap genetics, but a really good work ethic that just wants to have fun and see how to push themselves, that's how you develop those athletes. All right. That's what it was for me. Like being developed into the athlete I knew I could become, but I just needed to calm down and be a lot more realistic and learn to have fun and enjoy and appreciate this process.
Honestly, I would take the person over work ethic and willing to at least try than someone that's just naturally gifted any day.
I don't care as long as they were happy to be here. Like as long as they like had a good attitude about it, you know what I'm saying? Because like there are some people that are just like that they know that they're hot shit and like act like they're hot shit. I'm like, how about we like be grateful? You know what I'm saying? But like I don't care who I work with as long as they're a good person and they're willing to try. Like that's where it's like we
But
can work with that. You know what I'm saying?
of course, that was what I meant as
No,
far
I got
as
what you were
women.
saying. I got what you're
But
saying.
you come across somebody that's like naturally gifted and like doesn't really want to do
Oh,
what.
yeah, like their work ethic is crap, but their
Yes,
genetics are so good that they just like fly by the seat of their pants and become this monster. Yeah, I hate that. I mean, I don't hate it because like I can't control it, you know, but it's like you see like how hard like some people bust their asses for just like a little bit. And then like this one person, you know, they sleep 4 hours a night. They like eat mac and cheese. I don't know why we're saying mac and cheese, but whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're just like fucking off, and you're like, how do you look like that?
yes.
Like that's where you're like, God has favorites.
Literally, I dated like somebody like that once, and like little Debbie snacks, all that shit during a prep. I'm like, wasn't fair.
You know what? I am excited to prep because this first time I prepped, I was fucking vegan and I like was doing tofu and TVP and all the fucking macro hacks for like vegan fluff shit and Walden Farms up my asshole. I cannot wait to just prep like a normal bodybuilder.
Right, right. That would be fun.
Yeah. Any
I'd
any
like to be
any
able to.
final thoughts before we do fun questions and get out of here?
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. So, what
Miss
is
you,
one
Meg.
thing? What? What?
Miss you, Meg.
Miss you, Meg? Mommy Meg, what is one thing that you are secretly obsessed about that you never really get to talk about? It could be like a circumstance, it could be an item, but like you are obsessed with this, but you never get a chance to really talk about it. I know it's a good question because you're like, shit, what do I talk about?
I mean, I talk about having babies a lot. I feel like that's probably just for the fact that I feel like every wall around me is closing in.
How many babies do you want? Like, how many kids do you want?
At this point, probably just one.
Just one? Would you
But with
want
my
a
luck, I'll
boy
end
or
up with
oh no, you said you
if
wanted
I
a
have
girl,
a
right?
if I had a boy, I'm sending it back.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Done.
You said you wanted a boy. Because I said if
The
there was an
alligator.
alternative universe and Eric and I had a girl, I would give it to you. And if you had a boy, you'd give it to me.
Yep. Yep. Having babies. I don't know. It's all of a sudden everywhere I go. People are like, so you're freezing your eggs? Are you gonna have kids? Why haven't you had kids already? Blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I'm like, actually, I'm gonna get my ass on stage first. So you hold tight.
Oh my God, dude. That's
Perhaps
wild.
get married.
I mean, I think that concept of freezing your eggs is creepy. Like, I think I love it. I love that we have that ability for women, but like,
$15,000. $15,000 for not even a guarantee if it works.
I'd buy a horse with that money. Like, I'd buy a farm. I don't know.
Fuck, no way. I ain't doing that shit. Uh, what else you got? Anything?
No, but I'll say my thing that I would love to do, secretly love to do. I would actually love to be more of a farmer. Like I'd love to actually have like chickens and goats and some type of land to actually have like more
This
self-sustaining, but I don't want to do the work. And so I'm like, well, could I hire it? But I'm like, at that point, it's kind of defeating the purpose. But I would love to be Farmer Ash.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Like chopping hay. Is that the
Yeah, I mean, like,
chop?
you know what I'm saying? Like, I would have to give up literally everything, except my marriage, obviously. I'd have to like not be a coach anymore, but I'd be like, you know, out with my pigs, out with my chickens, like maybe cows, but I don't know. I'm lactose intolerant, so probably goats, so I could do like goat milk and goat cheese, but like, I just want to be a farmer. Like, grow some shit, be self-sustainable, maybe have a little doomsday bunker, can some stuff.
Okay, I like it.
I like it. I like it. All right, last question. What are you grateful for? And we'll get the fuck out of here.
I'm grateful for my like day to day. When you go
Mm.
away and you're away from like all of the things you have accessibility to, you don't realize like how much you enjoy, your life in general.
Mhm.
Even though I was in quote unquote paradise, it's just nice to be grateful for the little things, you know?
Yeah, I
What
mean, your
about you?
home
What
is
are you
your
grateful
home.
for?
I love that. Your home is your home. I'm grateful for persimmons. They are my fruit of the week. I've never had a persimmon
Are
before.
they? I don't even know what
Persimmons?
it is.
Yeah, they are. This is how I described it last time. It's like if a orange and an apple had sex and had a baby.
Ooh.
So it looks like a tomato, but it has a sweeter orange nectar type of flavor.
Next time you eat it, send me a picture. I want to
Yeah,
see
I
what it
mean, I
looks
have
like.
it cut up right now. I've got it bleeded into my blueberry. So the blue is the blueberries, but like it's like a little orange like
Huh.
thing, but it looks like a
Do
tomato on the
you peel
outside,
it?
and it's good.
Do you have to peel them or do you eat the skin?
Um, they're probably a little underripe than they should be. I looked on the website and it said to peel them because it's more like squishy in the middle, but these are not squishy. This is more hard. So I eat the skin, but like I also eat kiwi skin, and that like is weird to some people. So,
I'm not fuzzy. I don't eat kiwis. Those are one of the other fruits that give me the itchy throat bullshit. But
dude, moment of silence. But yeah, I'm grateful for that, and also grateful for friends. Cool. All right, signing off. I don't know what the fuck we talked about today, but I had a lot of fun, and that's all that matters.